Welcome to the Postgame podcast. Jerry's out today, so today we have the Eddie Scozzare. Welcome, Eddie.
Hello, podcast people and
Yeah.
YouTube person.
Oh, the YouTube person. Good
Mhm.
morning. Actually, Eddie, you're the YouTube episodes where you're one of the hosts
Mhm.
has been outperforming Jerry and I.
Really?
So when you were on in place of me, did better than most of the me and Jerry ones, and the ones where you fill in for Jerry also do well.
Well, this will be
So
a good test then to see if it's just a novelty thing since
could
I'm
be.
doing 4 in a row.
Could be enough. Oh, right. You're doing Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday this
Right.
week. Yeah. I've been wanting to do this for a very long time, but I never know how these things go. So I always hesitate to do them. But I did have a conversation with a family member of mine about these topics, and I like to have these discussions with people where we're not screaming at each other,
Mhm.
which is what I had with my family member. We weren't screaming at each other. We kind of have a thing. And I think it's hard to figure out sometimes politically the other person's side of things
Mhm.
when things seem obvious and seem like these are good ideas.
Mhm.
Like I always felt like I always use you as an example. I say, if I asked Eddie and if I asked my sister, what do they think should happen in these cases? I think we would all be on the same page, and yet we don't. People don't seem to be on the same page politically.
Now, which sister is this? The dentist's
No,
wife?
other
Yeah.
sister.
Okay.
So I could have good conversations with her without everybody yelling at each other. So she had said to me yesterday, she goes, "What do you make of this Elon Musk
Mhm.
situation?" I go, "Oh, I love it. I love the Elon Musk situation." And then she said, "Well, he's a bit of an odd guy, isn't he?" I said, "Very odd. He's a very strange guy. He's got 13 kids with 7 women. He's a bizarre man."
Mhm.
But I said, "I think it's I like that he's looking into the government spending." But people say, and that seems like something that would be universal. You're a taxpayer. It would be nice to know where we're wasting money.
Right. And the sort of legacy of government excess
Yeah.
or, whatever the old classic, $500 for a hammer kind of a
Yes.
thing that and the fact that there is government waste is
Yes.
undeniable.
Well, it's
Uh,
been going on for like 60 years
or
or more.
more. Who knows how long?
So then why would people not like that?
Well, because I think he is the perception by some people is that he is almost willy-nilly just cutting things or cutting things that he doesn't like or air quotes his side doesn't like, and it just seems that it's a bit too much too soon and too rashly. um and the other argument would be like, well, why not? If it's waste, it's waste. And also you may only have 2 years or 4 years or what have you to get this done, so let's get it done. And I have not been following it closely, but I think there are some things that they have tried to do in terms of the cutting where they're not, like, I don't know if they're allowed to just unilaterally just cut this or without having it approved and all that stuff. So I think that is part of the pushback. Um, And for any particular person, like, I love the national parks. So, oh, you're cutting national parks stuff. So that for me personally, I love the national parks. I love the idea of the national parks. So for me, that is something that cuts deeply in terms of the Department of Education. I don't have children, so you think, why should I care? Well, but I would like to have an educated populace.
Yeah, but
So
I think I think that's where the problem is that it's not cutting out education in the country.
it's the Department of.
The Department of which if you I think if you were to look at, okay, so why would they want to cut that? Well, what are they spending all of this money on
Mhm,
for very poor results,
mhm,
right? So our students perform very poorly in this country versus other countries.
Right.
So why is that if we're spending and pouring all of this money? So
Mhm.
clearly something isn't
Sure, there
working.
seems to be a certainly a mismanagement of the funding because you're not seeing any results, specifically with the Board of Education. But, um, I think there's also pushback on the, like, sort of the demonizing of universities as a haven for liberal thinking and all that. I don't that is probably that I think it is true that if you look at college towns, it's certainly they're more blue,
For sure.
um, for most of them. But I also do think that universities and higher learning is important for just to have an educated populace. And sometimes I don't know if the current administration wants an educated populace. But that's again, that could be my preconceived notions.
Well, I think and some of these things that get that they want to cut, they're then be put to the state level, right?
Mhm.
So colleges and universities, I don't even know if is that covered under the Board of Education?
I think maybe the state-run institutions, community colleges, state universities, certainly not like a Princeton or a,
Yeah.
Georgetown. I don't think. I mean, there's certain rules that they have to follow, but I don't know if they're necessarily getting funding from the Department of Education. Certainly oversight, I would think, but I don't know about the funding part of
Yeah,
it.
I don't know about that either. I don't know if that's the state schools are all state related things. Like I don't know what the Department of Education has for that. But it's just like with the nutrition thing too. It's like everyone's hates Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Why? The guy wants to get poison out of the food. Who
Mhm.
would be against that? And they're
No.
only against it because it was a like politically because it was a Trump appoint. The guy was a lifetime Democrat.
Mhm.
And the person that he replaced was an absolute I would think the person you want in charge of health and food is someone who's knowledgeable in that and looks like they're healthy. You're replacing somebody who looked like a complete disaster as far as health concerns. The guy wants to get rid of uh, food dyes and all these things that they don't allow in other countries, and people are against it. I don't understand that one either.
Yeah, again, I am going to plead ignorance. I don't know the specifics. I would imagine there's a certain portion of people who don't like it just because what you said,
Yeah.
because it's on that side. So it must be wrong, which is a bad way to look at things. I would have to take a deep dive into exactly what it is that he's uh, trying to do to have a more educated opinion. I don't have enough information about the things. Certainly, if you say get rid of poisons, of course, that's something that is obvious. There must be a little more to it, I would think, to have such a
Well, it's
reaction.
his vaccine
Yeah, now I'm
thing.
all for vaccines myself because I just look at the track record of vaccinations and it's pretty good over the however many 120 years. I forget when the first. I know they used to sort of try to expose people like way back to cowpox so they wouldn't get the chickenpox or something like that. Um, just sort of old school ways of inoculating people against disease. But I don't remember when the first vaccines were. I guess it was the early 1900s, I would guess, when that first started coming in. But I think it's got a pretty good track record overall in terms of public health vaccinations. So I am pro vaccination. So on that part of it,
But he's not, and that's the other problem, I think. Like, he's not an anti-vaccine guy.
mhm,
But the other thing I think with all of this, and I guess my broader question of how I brought this up was that depending on what you consume, you like everyone's getting different information.
mhm,
So I think, like my sister, you are consuming your news is coming from what we call the legacy media outlets, right? and those are many people feel very slanted in one position.
Mhm.
Everybody makes fun of, like, you would make fun of Boomer watching Fox News. For the longest time, that was the only place that would give a different side of the
Mhm.
story. Now there's many places, but it's on social media. And if you're not on social media, you are only getting really one particular side. Just like if you were just on Fox News, you're getting one particular side. But the other side has so many more. NBC, ABC, CBS, New York Times, NPR. All is on one side, all presents everything on one side. Then you have Fox News over here, and then independent journalists on Twitter that can give both sides of the story. And I think getting just that one side, it, I'm trying to have a conversation with my sister or with you, and you're only seeing one thing. So how do you even have a discussion if you're only getting the part that the mass media wants you to get?
Mhm. Well, I don't I'm not on any social media platforms, so I'm not getting my news there. I do not watch any of the mainstream media, as you called it, left or right. The only news I get, honestly, is when I'm in the car and I hear and I'm waiting for the traffic report, and I'll hear that sort of synopsis of the top stories on wins, and which is just very brief. And occasionally there'll be something there that I'll say, oh, if it's coming up soon, I'll listen to it before I go to my book on tape. So I'm really not getting a lot of news through consumption of media. Oftentimes, you will highlight something, and then I'll just do a Google search and I'll try to read about this or that. And now I don't know. And in those cases, I will go to both sides. When I see a story, I'll look at the Fox and then I'll look at whatever AP or another, I guess more,
Reuters.
not even that does usually come up on my thing that I see, or I don't click on it. It's like AP or CNN, uh, or Fox for the other side of it. And I will try to look at both. Now, oftentimes, if I'm ignorant of a person or a topic, I will go to Wikipedia. I don't know where that falls in terms of the spectrum. I don't know what the perception of Wikipedia is. Do you?
Yeah, the perception of Wikipedia now is that it's left for sure.
Okay.
I have not experienced that for the things I look up, but the topics I'm looking up feel like more historical things I'm looking
Hmm.
for, like this happened, or UFO crap, or any
Right, right,
weird
right.
Stonehenge things. I don't
Yeah,
know
yeah, yeah.
how you would make that political, but the complaint is that it's a left leaning
Okay.
information source.
Okay.
But I
Well,
also
that,
think it's just random people doing,
yes.
which is also strange.
Right. Right. And for like what you said, like the more historical sort of air quotes established things that you're just ignorant of, like when did this country become a sovereign nation or whatever, that's sort of factual.
Yeah.
So I'm not necessarily looking up the sort of the hot button topics of the day. Like, I may look up a person who is involved with a hot button topic to see what that person's background is, but not, so that's really my main source of news, is just if there's something that's big enough that you're talking about it, or it's on the show sheet, or my wife says something to me, then I may look deeper into it. But I have sort of, and this has been for a while, I don't really pay attention to anything but the treetops of the news. So, I can't really even get into, without looking into it to have a educated opinion. I can't really engage you
But
on.
yeah, but it seems like if you were to say, like, what were the three main points of this election, it was probably immigration,
Mhm.
crime, and wokeism stuff. I think
Mm.
those are the three things that So again, like
And the government spending thing. No? Or is that
I think I mean, they wanted to do that, but I don't think people thought they were going to
Mhm.
find what they're finding if you believe that. S But it was like, I I I think if I went to my Democrat friends and I said, "If a person who is here illegally murders someone, should they be deported?" I think everyone would say yes.
Yes.
But that's not what you voted for. And if I said if a guy mugs somebody on the subway, they should go to jail, and if they're let out and they mug somebody again, they should they shouldn't be keep getting let out with no bail. You would
Mhm.
say, "Yeah, no, that's letting criminals out is a terrible idea." Those are 2 main things that the Democrats voted for, which is that's what blows my mind.
Well, for me, it again, and we've had this discussion. I am terrified not of Trump himself, or even Musk, but of what they are empowering with the religious right. I and you can see signs already that this this theocracy, and it is not going to happen in probably in our lifetimes, but this movement towards a more theocratic country, like to actually introduce things and mentioning the Bible in Congress, to me is insane. Insane.
Right. Separation
That's
of church and state.
correct. That scares me. And to me, he is to get what he wants, he is allowing that group of people who are pushing for this more theocracy to gain more control and more power. And that more than anything else, that scares the hell out of me. So I would go against, even though what you're saying is correct about the illegal immigrants committing crimes. Uh, Absolutely, I agree. But to me, the greater long term threat to personal freedoms in this country is moving towards a more theocratic state. And that's for me a big, big, big reason. And I mean, this other stuff, the economy, it waxes, it wanes, it comes and goes, policies change over time. But to me, the underlying real scary thing was that theocracy. And also, I don't like this talk about, you know, 51st state, Canada, and Greenland. To me, it's very distasteful. I mean, they're a sovereign nation. What are you talking about making the 51st state? To me, that's like, what are you doing? I mean, I just is to me, that's very distasteful for me. I don't know
But
how.
is distasteful worse than letting murderers out on the street? Like, when you're
Oh
weighing
no, no,
the
no, no. I'm just
options.
talking about that one specific thing. But yeah, but to me, that's like a of how we're perceived by the global community. Like like, and that they had a guy wants to change Greenland to red, white, and blue land.
Yeah, that
I mean,
one, doesn't flow as
I mean,
well.
come on. You know, and Denmark's not interested in selling Greenland, and Canada doesn't want to be the 51st
Yeah,
state.
we're not really taking over Canada. He's just being douchey to
I know,
Trudeau.
but yes, but then I can understand why Canadians would be angry with that, and I understand why then they would boo the anthem. I
Oh,
do.
yeah, me too, 100%. I totally understand Canadians booing the anthem. I think it's fun that because we're not no one's there's not really a threat between us and
There's not
Canada
gonna be a
setting
war.
off,
Correct.
weapons. So
No.
to me, that whole thing is fun.
Right. And to be honest, I mean, I don't think we would invade Canada, but if we did, I mean, militarily, it wouldn't be a fight
Yeah, no, we're not. No one's. Yeah, I don't think
because I think the
that's a real
population
thing.
of Canada is, I don't know, 30 million,
Yeah,
maybe.
even for the size, it's a lot of
Well, but there's
uninhabitable land.
right, right, exactly,
Hmm.
exactly.
All right. All right, I wanted to get into this a little bit. So,
Is there a specific topic which I could then which I could do some research on to engage you on, so I could be better
I guess now,
prepared.
and I understand, a lot of this. I know sometimes it's on the air, sometimes it's off the air. Where Boomer will make comments, and you've referenced, quote, President Musk,
Yes.
which, um, again, like the when people or when presidents come in, they assign people to do different jobs that are
Hmm.
not voted on.
Right.
And even though he did tell you, if you vote for me, I am going to take Elon Musk and put him in charge of this.
Hmm.
Um, I just think that happens in all presidencies. If instead it was Elon Musk, if instead it was Trumpy McTrump face's accounting firm doing this, now you don't have a person to put it on who's a weirdo. Elon Musk is definitely a weird dude, questionable personal life with 900 children, always with different women.
By the way, was he? I did not know that about him. Was he married that many
I
times,
don't.
or
No, 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 no. It just
just
as random.
okay?
Yeah, he's like a pro athlete.
Hmm.
Um, yeah. So that I think then again we get in the way of, so instead of look at all this government waste that your tax dollars are going to, and instead we're going to look at Elon Musk is a weird dude. So discard the whole thing. It'd be like discarding Bill Clinton's presidency because he got Hummers in the White
Right.
House, which
Throwing out the baby with the
yeah,
bathwater, as the phrase
yeah.
goes.
Because if you Google the Elon Musk DOGE, all the articles, because people have done this and screen grabbed it, none of them talk about the waste he's finding. It's all about
The
President Musk. Oh, he's taking over. No one voted for him. And
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
like,
No, but I do think with him specifically, there is a perception
yeah,
that, in terms of what you said, presidents have appointees, and of course, they handle certain things. But I think there's a perception with him, because of his dynamic, maybe a little off-center personality, that, like, oh my God, this guy's in charge. So I think there is a perception of that amongst the other side, if you want, or even perhaps even on the Republican side by some Republicans, um, who think he's in charge. Whether or not that's true, I don't know. I also think there's a part of it that part of the argument, or part of the reason for saying this, is that Trump is not going, if he keeps hearing that, he's not going to like it. And then ultimately he'll be like, I'm in charge. And he'll sort of push back against Elon. And then they'll go at it with each other. I think
yeah.
that is part of it for sure, to try to get this perception of Trump's not really the president, it's really President Musk, to sort of goad Trump into going against Elon.
But then he's going against your tax dollars and where they're going to waste. So you want that gone because people don't like Elon Musk? Like, it doesn't make sense. Why? I don't know why you wouldn't want that stuff uncovered and wasteful spending cut out.
Well, sure you would on the surface, but
But because
again,
it's Elon Musk, it's no good.
uh, perhaps that's certainly a part of the story, but I don't know. And I'm not well informed enough about what he's actually doing and what he's cutting and why he's cutting it. Certainly, the government waste is always, like we've talked about, is undeniable. But how he's doing it, why he's doing it, what departments he's doing it to, I'd have to really take a deeper dive into that, to give you, to sort of better understand what argument the specific arguments are for, air quotes, my side of the story.
Yeah.
But for me, the again, it all comes down to, and this is another thing, it's he's this is the perception, what true or not, who time will tell, that he wants an autocratic state, meaning more of a, to get rid of sort of the current democratic way we do things and voting and all that, to have sort of, for lack of a better term, a emperor, dictator, king in charge.
You see, that to me is all the crazy stuff.
Right. See, I this is out there though. This is for, like, that's what Musk's idea, and some of the people who Musk is getting informed by or is influenced by that they want a more autocratic state, which is another thing that scares me too. That, just like a theocracy, but any sort of dictatorship or kingship, emperorship is scary. Again, I don't think that's going to happen in our lifetime, but time will tell.
All right, Eddie, let's do the warm-up program.
Okay.
I did that with CeeLo. Tomorrow on the postgame, I have a question for you about my dog licking. A licking dog.
Licking.
Yeah,
Okay.
licking situation that's getting out of hand.
Yeah.
And I need to get your your dog expertise on that one. The warm-up show I did with CeeLo.
You did.
And we'll do the same tomorrow. CeeLo warm-up, Eddie postgame podcast.
So